What is good, and welcome to episode 386 of the most black and gold podcast on the internet. This is Defenders of the Bank. You know my voice, it's the Scarf. J.R. Liebert coming to you live from in front of the beautiful Scarf Wall. That's right. And it was a fun one at BMO Stadium. No Sonny, no Denny, no problem, says the Steve Cherundolo, Jeremy Ebobisse, Frankie Amaya led LAFC, the black and gold, looking good in their 2-0 win over a Toronto club featuring our old friend Jose Cifuentes. Joining me on the podcast, as always, co-founder, co-host, and co-heartthrob of Defenders of the Bank, I give you one Christian Philly Philemon.
I like that, co-heartthrob. I might have to announce myself on some more broadcasts that way. That's very good, very good. It put a good big smile on my face. Yes, LAFC stays undefeated against Toronto. And, it got me to thinking for a second. I kind of like Canada. Like, as a whole, just thinking about Toronto FC, I like the country of Canada. They've produced a few things that I truly do love and enjoy in life. One being the game of hockey. A fascinating sport, and in person, my opinion, one of the best sports to watch, period. Whoever thought that it made sense to put knives on people's feet, arm them with a stick, and have them bat at a piece of rubber on a frozen pond was a crazy freaking genius, and I love it. The other thing from Canada that I love is Bryan Adams. That's right. I can't help myself. When Summer of 69 comes on, I can't help but sing. I smile so much it hurts, ear to ear, and it's fantastic. Run to You, Heaven, everything I do from the Kevin Costner Robin Hood film. They're all bangers. And funny enough, as I got older, I have to admit, it was sort of funny realizing that Robin of Locksley had an accent of a man born in Linwood, California, and actually grew up in Compton. That's right, Kevin Costner. But I really digress. Look, I'll even say that I don't hate Canada's baseball team. And in fact, for all the Defenders listeners out there, the millions
and millions
that root for the Yankees, in particular Tony and Lafferty, this one's for you. For those listening, I've got a Toronto Blue Jays hat on, a 1992 World Series one. I had to. And you know what? I can't say that I hate a team that's never beaten LAFC. Last night was another good night and showed that we could be resilient even without our top three scores. Luckily, it was against Toronto and not teams like Philadelphia or Cincinnati.
I love when Philly starts out, I kind of like Canada. Okay, all right. Giant statement there. It's always fun. Alanis Morissette, also from Canada. Tim Hortons, also from Canada. Ketchup flavored and all dressed chips. I love those.
Sonny, I could absolutely talk trash because as a Mets fan, I don't like the Yankees. So that's exactly why I'm talking trash. And yes, cheers to the Dodgers. I too hate the Phillies. Philly hates the Phillies. It's a funny statement, but yes, it's a good thing.
All right. So what we knew is that, yes, Philly.
One more thing, Scarf, I'm sorry if I may. Breaking news on ESPN, and I wanted to make sure as sports fans we recognized the passing of one Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt, the longtime chaplain from Loyola Chicago men's basketball team. She died at the age of 106. And it's crazy because that Final Four run was 2018. Sister Jean proved that passion of sport can lead to a long life. So with that, I raise you a reposado. Prost.
Cheers to Sister Jean, the principal at my elementary school. Sister Jean, but a different Sister Jean, obviously not the 106-year-old at Loyola Chicago. Let's talk a little bit of LAFC because, Lord, we're 5 minutes into the pod and there's been barely any LAFC talk. Philly, the last regular season home match for one Steve Cherundolo, which he did talk about with me in the press conference after the match, and we'll talk about that after we recap. He was surprisingly effusive, that's for sure, in the press conference. That was surprising. 4 matches in 14 days. We knew the gauntlet when we started with Atlanta. It'll end with the Rapids on the 18th. And so far, so good. 6 points in the first 2 matches. But again, just needed to keep pace and keep up in that top part of the Western Conference. We put it out on our Twitter. And if you're not following us at Defend the Bank on Twitter, make sure you do. Because we put out the viewing schedule, although I checked all around and I'm not exactly sure how we'll be able to see South Korea playing Brazil at 4 a.m., which is in, I don't know, just like 6 hours or so. My goodness. El Salvador playing Panama at 6 p.m. Gabon playing Gambia at 6 a.m. And then Canada playing Australia at 4:30 p.m. Look, the Canada and South Korea matches are great, but they are friendlies. El Salvador and Nathan Ordaz, and of course Gabon and Denny Bawanga looking to qualify for the World Cup. And for Gabon, it would be their first. So make sure you follow along with Denny Bawanga. Philly, another kind of cool bit of news and notes, just because, we're kind of getting through it. The top 22 under 22 list came out. And Philly, you and I actually haven't even talked much about this list over the last couple of days, but David Martinez, number 5, Nathan Ordaz, number 8. I don't know, David Martinez being number 5. File that under things that make you go,
Oh, I didn't realize there. I thought there was going to be more to it. I was just thinking like the commercial or the song or whatever it was that came from. Yeah, things that make you go. I got nothing. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be getting up at 4 a.m. That's for sure. One more sleeps are turning into no more sleeps. And Kick a Ball, thank you for the shout out. Yeah, my voice is hoarse because I called the game last night. I call a game Saturday. I go to Oklahoma City to call 3 games. And for many of you Liga MX fans, I'm not entirely sure what channel it's going to be on, but there's going to be this really cool game featuring the legends of Club America taking on the legends of Chivas de Guadalajara. And yours truly gets to be on the broadcast calling that, along with some USA-Mexico indoor soccer games. So yeah, I'm tired. So that being said, I ain't waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. to watch a friendly. No way.
No, that's a little early for me. That's for sure. So yeah, again, congratulations to David Martinez, number 5, and Nathan Ordaz, number 8, on the top 22 under 22 in Major League Soccer. Oh, by the way, number 9, Luca Bombino. That was
that's pretty cool.
See, Luca.
I didn't mean that in like a weird way. That's
you can see Philly's excited about that one. What I love too is LAFC, the only club in 2025 to have 2 players in the top 10. And it's the 3rd time the club has had multiple players on the list. We've had Brian Rodriguez made the list 3 years in a row, including number 2, I believe, was his highest at one point. Diego
we
Rossi,
know who number 2 works for.
Diego Rossi, formerly number 1 on the list as well. So kind of cool. That's always fun to see where our boys wind up. LAFC 2 is done. Angel City might as well be done. Philly, other than, the news about the national teams and the top 22 under 22, this might be the earliest that we've ripped the Band-Aid off if we're gonna and get right into what honestly was a really boring 2-0 win.
Really boring 2-0 win, but a win nonetheless. And the fact that the streak continues. We were both wrong. You predicted a scoreline that didn't come to fruition, although you did get the goal tally correct for LAFC. I was wrong. You were wrong about the streak. Kind of cool, man. Like that, there was still going on. And by the way, for the Chirundolo haters out there, the win last night now makes him 27th in wins in MLS history. And it feels like it went by just like that. Crazy to think that Steve is going to be done after this season. And with the way we're going, fingers crossed that we have that deep run in the playoffs. And that means I have to ask you again, did you opt in or did you opt out? Or did you remember to do what you were told to do?
Yeah, no, we opted out so that you and I are going to cover it from the press box. So there you go. Ruben, by the way.
Is that a real wise decision now that I think about it?
I don't know. I have no idea at this point. But Ruben, by the way, whoever asked that question was brilliant in the press conference. I'm just saying. Yeah, Philly, look, this wasn't even supposed to be played, man. This was supposed to be originally scheduled June 13th. Oh. But thanks to the Club World Cup and our appearance in it, got pushed all the way back to Wednesday, October 8th at 7:30. LAFC coming in 4th in the West, but now moving on up. And 7 total players on the roster out, of course, the 4 on international duty. Igor Jesus, Aaron Long, and I guess he's just a myth of Norse mythology at this point, Odin Thiago Holm. Not sure.
Seriously, who are you? I mean,
not sure. Not sure at all. Philly, I think the most compelling thing coming into this was, would Toronto be able to hold us to a draw? Because 8 in a row, longest draw streak in MLS history. I don't know. That was kind of fun, no?
It was. Look, and it all, if you listen to One More Sleep, a lot of that came off the heels of the Rapid signing Georgi Mihailovic, drawing going back several weeks in their matchup against the Philadelphia Union, a team that now stakes the claim at winning a supporter shield. If there was ever a time for LAFC to break the streak where nobody would have lost their flipping minds and everybody been like, hey, Dolo out, Paul out, defenders out, blame the podcasters, blow it all to hell, it would have been last night. Last night would have been the one time LAFC would have been forgiven for putting up a bad game. But as boring as you claim it was still a win. While the offense wasn't what it is normally with Sonny and obviously Denny and obviously Ordaz and firing on all cylinders with Chonier on there operating in the midfield, a win's a win. And even if it was a bad team, it's still something to celebrate because it does keep the streak intact. But even more importantly than the streaks are fine and fantastic. But at the end of the day, we still have an opportunity to leapfrog Vancouver and San Diego. And to me, that's the most important part of this whole thing. We'll obviously talk about that as we wrap this up with a bow, but tremendous game. And next man up certainly happened. Jeremy Ebobisse, that dude was a stone cold killer back in his days against LAFC when he was on Portland and San Jose. And he kind of got lost in the shuffle of the season, obviously being overshadowed by a lot of talented players that have his position that score more than he does. But I'm happy that he came back too and fired in the way that he did. We'll talk about that. But this was a really good win. And I'm really happy for the players that came in, got some run. There's a question about Balutza. I certainly want to address that later on, but plenty to be happy about regardless.
Yeah, and look, I was also happy. I don't know how a lot of people felt about this, but I was happy to welcome back Jose Cifuentes to BMO Stadium. It's been rough since he left us in August of 2023. Look, the big move, right, was that he was going to Rangers, right? And Rangers didn't work out for Sifu. Just 20 matches, not a lot there for Rangers at all. Went to Cruzeiro in Brazil.
At the same time, Scarv, the coach that brought him in, did get fired. So there was that as well.
Agreed. But then he goes to Cruzeiro and not a lot there. Aris Saloniki in Greece, not a lot there. Then he goes to Toronto. Look, the bottom line is, since leaving LAFC in August of 2023, Sifu's played in 68 total matches. Not a small number. Just 1 goal, 6 assists. It's been rough for Sifu there in the midfield. The grass not always greener when you leave the black and gold side. And look, you're never going to fault a guy. It's not like he jumped ship and then found his way into, I don't know, Cruz Azul or FC Juarez. And yeah, I'm looking at you, Maddie and Jesus. But he jumped to a Scottish giant in Rangers, right? They have Champions League aspirations. You got other European League aspirations. So was happy to see Sifu back, Philly. Definitely, warmed all the silver bells and cockle shells for at least just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a big part of the success that we had. So, I mean, I think we just left a really sour taste in our mouths with the way it all kind of ended and transpired. Probably should have gone at the time that it was the iron was hot, but regardless, I will remember him for the times he was here. Big part of our success, and I'm glad they did a tribute to him. I mean, fitting for a player who was part of a championship team. I think there's 2 teams without a doubt, even if we're 20, 30 years down the road, that need to be remembered. The inaugural team in 2018 that really did give us a lot of joy. I could argue the 2019 team, but obviously the 2022 team is going to be immortalized regardless for winning the first ever MLS Cup, the first of what we hope to be many.
No, look, that team will forever go down in history. I mean, just you never forget your first, right?
Yep, yeah, that's in every aspect.
Speaking of first, Robin Fraser, first season at the helm for Toronto, and he's guided him to 5 wins. Five. The former coach of the Colorado Rapids, who was very, very good with the Rapids. Also, by the way, the former head man at Chivas USA many, many moons ago. Now at this point, Philly, shall we just get into the lineup so we can talk about this match?
Yep, let's rock and roll.
Let's do it. The 4-3-3 for Toronto begins with the man celebrating his 480th match with an MLS club in all competitions. 480 matches for the goalkeeper affectionately known as Sean Johnson,
Ugh.
who, look,
I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way, considering the individual who actually created a clothing line by the name of Sean Johnson. I hear
I'm
that.
with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. Sean Johnson's a big dude, by the way. Hi, Isis. Sean Johnson is a big dude. 480 matches. He's still in his, I'll say, late mid 30s. The guy is going to be around for a lot longer. He's going to eclipse that 500 mark, no problem, next year.
The way you phrased it's like he's a big dude, 480. To me in my head, I was waiting to hear pounds. It's just a funny transition.
He's not that big, that's for sure. Their back line of four, consisting of Kobe Franklin, Kosi Thompson, who had a rough night, Sigurd Rosted, and Raul Petretta. Midfielder Alonso Coelho, receiving the latest red card I've ever seen in a match, that's for sure. Midfielder Maxime Dominguez, and rounding out the midfield, 121 matches with LAFC, 15 goals, 20 assists for Jose Cifuentes. It was great to have you back, my friend. And the forward spots went to Theo Corbeanu, easy for me to say, Jules Anthony Vilsaint, and the $9 million man himself, the second most expensive club buy in MLS history, was Georgi Mihailovic. In the 18, we would only see three: DeAndre Kerr, Marcus Simmermancic, and Malik Henry. That's Toronto and their 4-3-3. I don't care what anybody else calls it. It's been a 5-3-2, and it's been a 5-3-2 for a while.
I mean, that's what MLS had it. That's what FOTMob had it. A bunch of people had it that way. And yeah, Hugo Lloris would get the start. Very smart positioning formation with the likes of Sergi Palencia, Ryan Porteous, and Kosi Tafari, Eddie Segura, and Artem Smolyakov. Andy Morin would get the start along in the midfield, along with Marky Delgado and Timothy Tillman, who played a really good game. David Martinez, who, did not play as good of a game, and making his first start for LAFC, going back to July 16, we welcome Jeremy Ebobisse in the lineup. Coming off of the Pine Pony, when Ryan Hollingshead, when Frankie Amaya, who we're going to have plenty to talk about later, Jebo, who still gives me PTSD from having scored that goal as a member of the Columbus Crew against LAFC in Columbus during the 23 MLS Cup final. Gelson would make his appearance, and he would be on the end of something that I've never seen before in my decades of watching this beautiful game. And of course, coming from my father's favorite team, FCSB, an acronym for Football Club Steaua Bucharest, one Alexandru Balutza. That rounds up your LAFC lineup. Let's get into it.
Yeah, look, doing his best Denis Bouanga impersonation, man. How nice was that? Jeremy Ebobisse. Look, Alfonso Coelho, it was a bad night, bud, and it's only going to get worse. But Coelho undressed.
Quajo is what they call him.
Oh, Quajo, excuse me. Undressed in the middle of the park, Philly. Undressed. I mean, Jeremy Ebobisse picked his pocket and then ran away from it. That's my favorite part. I didn't know Jebo had that much speed left in his bag. Impressed. Jeremy Ebobisse puts it to the right of Sean Johnson, even though he came all the way out. Great job by Johnson to supposedly take away the angle. It's his fourth goal of the season, but Philly, first goal for Jeremy Ebobisse since May 14th. And what I'm thinking when I see him score this goal, Philly, is we needed another striker to get going, just in case Denis has an off day, just in case Sonny has an off day, to have another striker who's confident that they can finish. Well, this was a special type of finish from Jeremy Ebobisse. The pocket picked, going the length of the half field and putting it past a veteran, great goalkeeper in Sean Johnson. This was a big goal, I think, for Jeremy Ebobisse.
A big goal for his confidence. And you saw how fired up he was right after he scored it. One goal shy of his seventh consecutive season with 5 league goals or more. Not sure if he's going to hit it. As the stat and the storyline goes, first LAFC player besides Denny, her son, or Chouanier for that matter, to score a goal for LAFC dating back to August the 16th in a 2-0 win against New England. I love to throw these little tidbits out there because it's fun. But it was all defense, pounced on him like a shark. Blood was in the water, and he bites through the back line and through Sean John, finding the goal. And that was a good one. That's what you need. That's exactly what the next man up motto comes in at. And that guy, look, he is a proven goal scorer. following this club for as long as we have and anybody else, that name registers in particular because it would normally be his name being called by the public address announcer scoring for the opposition against us. Certainly feels a lot better and sounds a lot better when it's LAFC goal by Jeremy Ebobisse.
Right? Look, I'm going to channel my inner Jerry Seinfeld here in the 17th minute. What is with all of these early yellow cards? That wasn't an impersonation as much as it was me trying to kind of say things the way that he did. It was really bad. Either way, what are we doing? Marky Delgado, 17th minute, picks up this early yellow, and it was a bad foul. I mean, you could tell right away it was going to be a yellow. It was Eddie Segura last match, Mark Delgado this one. I'm just worried, Philly. Back in the day, these early yellow cards used to come back and get us. To be perfectly honest, other than Sergi's chance in the 29th minute and Andy Morin's chance in the 34th, I don't have a whole lot to talk about for the rest of this first half. It was a pretty bland and boring first half. Just ask Ugo. He only had the one save that was like tapped right to him in stoppage time. Ultimately, though, when I say that, Philly, it means that LAFC's backline, LAFC's team defending was absolutely doing their job.
They got a lot better. I mean, we both chose defenders as our players to watch. You with Ryan Hollingshead, me with Ryan Porteous. But the fact that Hugo Lloris only really saw one shot on target, that's a big thing. It's funny because we were doing a broadcast the other day applauding a goalkeeper from UC San Diego being the top in the Big West for saves. That's all fine and dandy, but when you face that many shots and get that many saves, that means your defense is really letting you down and that you really are the last line. In the case of Hugo, he didn't have to make too many plays because we stacked 5 people back there, 5 people that are very capable, very good, and hopefully can continue to prevent more looks at Hugo as we get closer to the to postseason play. But you said it. We only had 4 shots, 2 of them on target, 2 chances. We end up scoring one of them. So that's as good as you can get in the first 45.
And Ruben really wants us to talk about the save in the 18th minute. We got you, Ruben. Look, we put your comment up, and Ruben saying, go back and watch the 18th minute. An insane save. Go back and watch the 18th minute. There you go. But yeah, Philly, 1-0 at the half. What I love more than anything else about that is see, I can count maybe on 1 or 2 fingers how many times Toronto was even dangerous in that entire half. You know, if that, there were a couple of good set pieces, couple of corners, and you just kind of wonder, will this be the one that LAFC either makes a blunder in or commits a handball or something like that? But again, really solid. Steve had them looking really tough to score in the first half. Jebo trying to score in the first 10 minutes of the second half as well. Philly, I'm going to turn it over to you on this next one because I'm still so angry at David Martinez's run up to the PK. I can't even talk about it with I'm so angry. I'm not going to talk anymore, Philly.
I feel like you angry and David Martinez have been a sentence that's happened consistently since the young kid hit the roster with such great expectations. And that even goes back to the top of the podcast when you commented on his positioning within the top, whatever, under whatever. You said that. Look, he draws the foul on Kosi Thompson. It was a great pass from Marky Delgado, if I'm not mistaken. It was a good run, a good touch. But yeah, you're right. Bad penalty kick. He absolutely telegraphs it. He does this weird little shuffle, very predictable, clearly, because when Johnson made the save, there was no hesitation. It's like he knew exactly where it was going. At times, we see the run-up, the fakes. Sometimes you see the Panenkas. I'm not a fan of that. All the pressure truly is off the goalkeeper when you have somebody in front of the box, in front of the goal, 11 meters, 12 yards. But when you do that hesitation thing, if you're not a clinical, stone-cold killer of an assassin, which clearly David Martinez is not, your best bet is just to have in your mind where you're going, position yourself, and just fire it away. All these players love to do the crossbar challenge. It's a thing. It's a thing they love to do. So I would imagine he's probably one of these kids who does like to play the crossbar challenge more often than not win it. So if he has that precision, why not just go to the upper corners and be done with it? When you do the jump, you try to get too cute. It just, if it scores, it looks good. If it fails, you look like a schmuck. And he absolutely looked like a schmuck. Sean Johnson at that point looked like the keeper that we remember, and the reason why he ended up going and getting signed by Manchester City and then getting loaned out to Fortuna Dusseldorf, so on and so forth. David Martinez should have bagged himself a goal because he worked hard for it. He earned the opportunity to score. He just failed at doing it because he just didn't think clinically enough. And that's really all there is to it. That right there is your insurance goal. That's better than Affleck. I don't know why I thought of that. Workman's comp, disability, whatever. He should have scored the flipping goal at the end of the day.
Philly, that's my problem. He earned it. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, he did. He beat his man to the shoulder, right? Got taken down. No complaint at all on the yellow or on the PK. If you look at the Toronto defender, Kosi Thompson, I believe, was the defender, right?
Yep, Kosi Thompson.
He
didn't argue his name later.
He didn't argue. He didn't argue nothing. But oh God, so bad. I think that's why just a few minutes later he gets pulled. Ryan Hollingshead comes on for Artem Smolyakov, and Frankie Amaya comes on for David Martinez. And I think maybe I can see this maybe being a Mark Dos Santos thing to say on the side, or definitely an Ante Razov thing. Right before Frankie Amaya comes in, I'm really hoping one of those two guys whispered in his ear, if you have the chance to take the shot, make sure you put your damn laces through it instead of being cutesy. And Philly, that's absolutely what Frankie Amaya did after coming on. Eddie Segura, man, this beautiful little tap out. And I got to say, have we mentioned any negative plays with Eddie Segura in quite a while? I mean, the old man is doing all right for us. Eddie, you know I love you. You know you're not an old man, but you've been here for so long now, and things were touch and go for a little bit. You got hurt for a little bit. It's Eddie Segura's IQ in this LAFC offense. If you look, like 3 or 4 guys came together all at once, and Eddie just toe pokes that one out to the side, out to Frankie Amaya, and kudos on Frankie Amaya. He goes right at the keeper, Sean Johnson. And Sean Johnson will tell you he probably should have saved this one because Frankie Amaya chose to go to Sean Johnson's left instead of Sean Johnson's right. And I think caught him kind of in between, but he put all of his laces through it. So kudos on him, Philly. You're absolutely right. If you're not going to be a clinical surgeon putting this ball, I believe, upper 90, where what happens, Philly? Tell us one more time.
When you go upper corner?
Yeah, where
the top shelf where Uncle Franz keeps the good schnapps?
That's exactly the one. And what I love about Frankie is he wasn't trying to be cute. He just put his damn laces through the ball.
Yeah, it caught Sean Johnson by surprise. I don't think he was expecting Amaya to go near side the way he did as quickly as he did. And yeah, it was broken up. It was a counter that was initially broken up by Cifuentes. It just took a weird bounce, made its way to Eddie. And Frankie says, relax. Don't do it when you want to come. And with that, Frankie Amaya bags his first goal for LAFC, which is pretty dope. His 10th regular season goal, going back to his time with Cincinnati and the New York Red Bull. And for Eddie, he gets his first assist of the year and his 5th regular season assist, period. It's the first time, actually, that Eddie's contributed offensively, going back to last year, October the 5th against Sporting Kansas City. So that's pretty awesome thing to have happen. And happy for Frankie, happy for Eddie. And with that, here's another fun tidbit to you, brought to you by the wonderful folks at LAFC PR. That's the 499th goal for LAFC in 258 all-time regular season games, one shy of 500. And believe this or not, under Bradley Ball, and yes, Dolo Ball, LAFC is on track to become the quickest team in MLS history to reach 500 goals. DC United, of all teams, has that record, and I'm sure none of you care because it's all about an MLS Cup. But keep in mind, we did win one. We did have the opportunity to defend and fight for another one. And I know people like Johnny in the chat obviously are vehemently against Dolo, but there will come a time, and I will reiterate this on a multitude of occasions. There will come a time, and I will keep this receipt, where you're all going to come back and go, I miss Dolo, because we'll have those years. If Tata Martino does come here, I know many of you are going to be pissed. You haven't forgiven him for the World Cup, but there will come a time when y'all are going to say, I miss Steve. Because you know what? Some of y'all that wanted Bob out towards the end, turned around and said, I miss Bob at one point too. So just putting it out there. Just putting it out there.
By the way, when LAFC scores number 500 next match, they will have done it. Johnny's already out.
Bravo,
Johnny, who
good.
talks almost as much crap about Dolo as anybody else here in the chat, goes, if we get Tata, I will miss Dolo. Thank you, Johnny. We appreciate your candor. Love that so much. Philly, when they score next match, they'll be 36 matches faster to 500 than any team since 96 in the history of this league. 36 matches faster. That's just
DC did 500 in 295 games. That's correct.
That's going to be a lot of fun. Philly, you finally. Oh, first of all, Sean Johnson on Jeremy Ebobisse in the 74th minute. Great save. I took two things away from this. One, the old man still has it between the pipes. That was a beautiful save. And Jeremy Ebobisse, who hasn't played much all season, still looking very, very dangerous as we near the 75th minute of this match. But Philly, I was more happy for you in the 76th minute. I thought about you and your dad as Jeremy Ebobisse checks out in this one for Belutza making his debut, and Philly's holding up the crest. I actually knew about this team, Steaua Bucharest, because of Philly. Philly was talking to me very, very early on in our friendship about, oh, there's this powerhouse in Romania. They're a great club. And then he told me the whole history of everything behind it. And how cool is it that we don't just sign a Romanian, Philly? We sign a guy who used to play for Steaua Bucharest. So 76th minute, he comes on, Philly. I couldn't help think about you.
No, it was cool. Even my dad texted me today about it. Just like, hey, Belutza came in. What'd you think of his play? And we addressed it. And I'll talk about that real quick. But it's funny because when he checks into the game, if you remember the movie Rudy, when he comes into the final game, you have Jon Favreau's character sitting in the stands going nuts, saying, he's so little. He's so little. Like, he really is little. I mean, when he was standing at the sideline getting ready to come in with Yaya Boa isn't very tall, very big human being. And Belutza looking up at Yaya Boa. So that was kind of funny. But look, in the limited amount of minutes that he got, he played 14 minutes. He ended up getting a nice pass from Ryan Hollingshead, and I think he just felt a little too compelled, too excited to break through, because I've seen some of the ways this kid is finished. He's very fast. At that 5'5" frame, he is very fast on the ball, versatile, can play in the midfield, can play that forward top on the right wing. Probably could have done himself a favor by that touch, pressing forward a little more, then firing at Sean Johnson. But either way, he looked pretty good. He got a recovery. He had 8 touches. He fired one off. He got called for offside. But in 14 minutes, I would say it was very promising what he brought on to the pitch. And for my dad's sake, I'm very happy that we had somebody. You can't call them Steaua Bucharest anymore, Scarf, technically. They're FCSB. If you want to wonder why, I'm telling you, go to YouTube. Look up Copa 90s, the club with no name. This you can't make up a story like this. It's one of the wildest stories. Forget about Eastern Europe or the world or what. Just period in football and soccer. What happened with Steaua Bucharest and this battle they're going on with FCSB, the Army, this guy Bakali? It's wild. Go do yourselves a favor and learn about it. It's a crazy story.
By the way, he is listed at 5'5", and if he is 5'5", I'll give everybody out there $1. By the way, coming off as Belutza came on was Jose Cifuentes. So Sifu comes off after 76 minutes. He got a nice little standing ovation from some of the crowd right there in the lower bowl. And then honestly, things got boring unless you were Jailson for the rest of the match. In the 84th minute, Jailson checks in, and I thought in those 6+ minutes, I thought Jailson looked pretty good. He was kind of holding up play a little bit, controlling tempo, comes on for Mark Delgado, and really did a good job kind of, setting the tone for LAFC over those last 6 minutes plus 6 of stoppage time. It was in stoppage time, Philly. You had mentioned it already, where Ryan Hollingshead fed Alexander Belutza for the shot. It was a good attempt, right? I was hoping maybe he'd put it somewhere else. That would have been pretty cool. But I think the thing that you and I, back in the day, Philly, right, when we were sitting right next to each other, it was a lot easier to do our wait what moment. We haven't done a wait what moment in quite some time. But I don't know. I was getting ready. I was packing up my things, going to go walk up to the press conference. And all of a sudden, the referees passing out red cards after the match. What the heck is going on there? I actually had to ask. I had to ask Josh Gross down there at the press conference what happened. And apparently, it was for a foul that happened during the match.
I guess. I feel like it's a posthumous red card, but if you look at the replay, dude, Thompson nails Jailson. Like, it was bad. It was really bad. It was well warranted, but I've never seen that at the death in a game that the result would not have been contingent upon it. But that really could have been devastating had he gone maybe towards his knees. Actually, it could have been devastating for both if Thompson hit him in the knees. It was a terrible foul, not on the ball whatsoever. And he was pretty pissed, too, Thompson, for getting the red card. Now he's got to sit out another game. But, I mean, what do you expect? When you throw a round kick the way he did that way, it was ugly. It would have been yeah.
Wasn't it Cuejo?
No, I thought it was no. Thompson got the red, if I'm not mistaken.
I go back and check just in case.
Oh,
I thought it was
really
Cuejo, the same guy that got his pocket picked earlier on. I would double check. But, yeah, so the whistle blew. And what I love is I checked earlier, and on one site, even though stoppage time ended, one site said it was the 7th minute.
Yeah, all right, my mistake. I guess I guess it's just when I'm going back and watching it, I just see Thompson arguing with the official. I don't know why then I thought that was him. My mistake. My mistake. I'll admit it.
But it was in the 9th minute on one side. Like, it was a solid 3 or 4 minutes after the final whistle. Apparently, he was asked to go over to VAR, gave the red. Look, and good on him, right? Because if you miss a foul during the match, right, you stop and you get whistled in your ear to go take a look at something. So he got whistled, and it's just definitely the latest red card I've ever seen after a match. Cuejo got picked for the first goal by Jeremy Ebobisse. And honestly, a rough night for him. Well, you know what? He started his vacation a little bit earlier. I believe this is the 33rd match. Oh, no, it is just the 32nd match. So he'll get to play in the final match of the season for Toronto. Yeah, we'll see. But Philly, more importantly, they figured out how to do it without Denis Bouanga, without Son Heung-min, without Matthew Chonier, without Nathan Ordaz, without Aaron Long, without, I'd say, Odin Thiago Holm, but we don't even know about Odin Thiago Holm. He's the guy that took your jersey number, by the way. The third 6-match win streak in club history, just one away from tying 2022's 7-match win streak, which is our club record. And more importantly, Philly, if we are able to get a win to extend that 7 matches when we go to Austin, or even if we're able to get a draw, we do tie the MLS record for an unbeaten streak at 12, which would be pretty neat going into this. Philly, I thought it was a great night for Jeremy Ebobisse. I thought Gelson and Beluzzo looked good in their debuts. Gelson a little bit more. Ugo, I think you and I could have kept clean sheets in these last 2 matches, if I'm being perfectly honest. But real quick, can we just talk about David Martinez for just a second?
You want to go back to that?
Just real quick.
This is more like therapy now.
It might be. At some point, he's got to do something with his minutes, right? No.
Learning lesson. I mean, it's kind of go. How many players have we had that have had in the past that have had moments of brilliance only to be shadowed by moments of like ridiculousness? Obviously, that goes back to the days of Brian Rodriguez, Andre Horta. We've had players that have been magnificent. Unfortunately, in some cases, not magnificent for us. David Martinez is Katy Perry, bro. He's hot and he's cold. He's yes, he's no. He scores and he doesn't. Yada, yada, yada. But at some point, you do have to release the excuse of, oh, he's young. Oh, he's learning. I mean, it's not just the coaches that are going to be barking in his ear. It's going to be his teammates. I'm sure he has somebody who has taken him under his wing that's been a mentor on the club anyway. But these are moments that he has to learn from. If we see it again, then at that point you have to think, that the kid's just like lost in between the ears, because ultimately everybody's biggest opponent, it's not anybody on the pitch or anybody out in the work environment, not anybody on the street. Everybody's biggest foe is here themselves. What's in between their ears? So when he has his confidence, he's red hot. You can't stop him. He's dynamite. When he does crap like that, he looks awful. So if he gets another opportunity at a free kick, let's all remember this moment and see how clinical he decides to be in finishing his chance. If he tries to be cutesy again, then you never learned. And then obviously the definition of insanity is just what it is. Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. But I don't want to let him off the hook. But ultimately we won the game. And that's all that matters to me. Hugo Lloris has the second highest total in terms of shutouts. We're off on a good run. We're operating on a very good form. And we're getting hot at the right time. And while some people have said that, they don't care what we do during the regular season, matters what we do in the playoffs, I get it. But if you get teams like the Philadelphia Union and other teams that have better records than us that get knocked out, the higher we finish, the better it is for us in the grand scheme of things. So keep that in mind. Do you want to host a game or do you want to go on the road? Personally, I'd rather be in LA than have to go anywhere else. And so where we finish on the table in that case, if we can, makes absolute sense and very important, because I would like to witness another MLS Cup here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, look, you're absolutely right. And with that, LAFC moves to third in the West on 65 points as their possibility, right? 59 points right now through 32 matches. And if they win out, points per match wise, the only team that can beat them is Vancouver. We're at 59 points on 32 matches. They're at 60 points on 32 matches. And boy, it would suck to lose this Western Conference title by 1 point to Vancouver. But look, if San Diego wins out, they can only get to 63. If Minnesota wins out, they can only get to 61. So it might be a 2-horse race, especially if LAFC can figure out a way in Austin to extend that win streak to 7, not a draw, but a win streak to 7. Then I think with Sonny and Denis coming back in Colorado, Philly, it could be trouble. And just imagine, and in one of the last 2 matches for Vancouver, if they stub their toe. They've looked great as of late, but if they stub their toe, LAFC could mess around and finish first in the West still could do it.
Yeah, which considering where we were for a good portion of the season, it's a good thing. And while some might say it doesn't mean a thing without a ring, look, getting into the playoffs and being in a position, it's all the culmination of an entire season. Yeah, if we snuck into the playoffs and we won, would it matter? Yeah, at the end of the day, it's the end of the journey in that case that matters. But obviously, where we're finishing in gives us a better shot at a better opportunity at doing a lot of other things. Top seed means a lot of things positively. It means a bye. It obviously means home field advantage throughout the course of the playoffs. These are all things that factor in well for LAFC. But with the way they've been playing on the road, can't say I'm as worried if they do have to go on the road. But what's assured is that we will be able to play at home for quite some time. And look, I would love to see a rematch. I don't know if I would love to see a rematch between the Union and LAFC just because it wouldn't be here in LA. But ultimately, I don't give a damn who we're playing against. But the one person I do want to meet in the postseason and absolutely schmack is San Diego. That's a team I would like to meet in the playoffs and whoop. Other than that, I don't care who we play. I guess I kind of don't care where it's going to be, but I would prefer a final in LA because while those ticket prices might be teuer, that's the word for expensive in German, they'll at least be here and we get to forego having to pay for flights and hotels, which makes us save money in the grand scheme of it.
There you go. Look, we've talked about as much as you can about a 2-0 win over Toronto. Gabon is playing in, what is that, 5.5 hours now at this point in Nairobi, Kenya against Gambia. Oh, excuse me. South Korea is playing first at 4 a.m. They're playing Brazil.
You don't sleep. You'll probably be up. You're the only person I know that functions without sleep. If I don't get at least 7-8 hours, I might as well just be drunk.
I may try and catch some of the Gabon game against Gambia in Nairobi, Kenya, 6 a.m, y'all. Let's cheer on Denis Bouanga and hope that Gabon, and look, apologies to all of our Ivory Coast listeners out there, our Côte d'Ivoirian listeners. We don't
Great
mean it,
jerseys, by the way.
but we would love to see Gabon ahead of you guys.
If
Sorry.
anybody's got a good line on buying a Denny Gabon kit, let me know. I'd like one.
Oh, yeah. Let me know, too. Philly and I totally want to buy a Gabonese Denis Bouanga kit. So,
Even
Philly,
a San Etienne one. I haven't been able to find one successful. He's not like a real one. It's not that it really even matters.
There you go. Ruben, by the way, has already played us off. So I just want to remind everybody, head on over to YouTube or Twitter or wherever it is that you access our content. Please make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe. Turn on those notifications. And a huge thank you to all of you for being a part of the Defenders family. And with that, this has been episode 386 of Defenders of the Bank. And Philly and I say
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.